get to the punching already.
What's up, guys? This is Ronalo back with once again another Balrog Boxer Basics video. This time I'm going to cover Okie and Meaties, which I will get to in a second here. First off, I just want to say thanks everybody for subscribing. I'm now past 60, so that's awesome. If you guys keep liking my content, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and that'll let me know to keep making more of these. That I'm actually making a difference. And also, I am not going to be making one of these next week, so you can probably expect the next one in 2 weeks, because I gotta move into my apartment next week, so gonna be kind of busy with that. So let's jump into this here. So first question you gotta kind of ask is, what is Okie, and what is a Meatie for that matter? If you don't know what an Okie is, or I guess Okie isn't a thing, it's a concept. But Okie is basically wake up, it's rising, attack, ukemi. It's short for okizeme. What I'm butchering that pronunciation. Okizeme. Basically, it's when somebody gets up. So that's okizeme, what he just did there. That's Okie for short. So Okie is basically knowing kind of what to do when they get up. So if he doesn't get up at all like this, what am I gonna do? And I can do something like that if I know what to do. And that is also what they call a frame kill. It sets up into a meaty, which is the next thing I'm going to get into. A meaty is basically where you hit a move on later active frames, and by doing so it hits meaty, as they call it, which means you have better advantage because it hits on a later frame. You have less time to recover, and so you have more time to, you know, convert into other things. And it's usually in Street Fighter only a difference of like anywhere between 2 and 3 frames, but that can make all the difference with things. For instance, Crouch Light Punch. On regular hit, it's +4. So I can do something like this. Simple. But on, like, if I meaty that, I can make it up to +6. Because this thing has, I believe it's 3 active frames, so because of that, if you do the math, you can add 2 more frames of advantage onto that. So by doing that, it becomes +6 on regular hit. That means that I can convert into, oh sorry, this isn't +4. This is +5. This is +4. So this one I can make +6. This one, I believe I can make +7 on meaty. So that basically means that I can convert both of these into a crouching medium punch or a standing medium kick, since they're 6 frames. So if you see I do this, see how that comboed? And that wasn't on counter hit or anything. So basically it can make it act like it's on counter hit when it's not. Now what this means for counter hit is even better. That makes me +6 on regular hit. It makes me +8 on counter hit. So let me set him to wake up with a button. Okay, he's waking up with a 3 frame, good. So because that is it's actually +9 on counter hit, I can convert into a crushing hard punch. Let's see here. Okay, maybe that is just +8. Okay, yeah, that leaves me at +7. Never mind. That's gives 3 more frames of advantage, not, or sorry, I'm being stupid. It gives 1 more frame of advantage, not 2, like I thought. So this actually leaves me at +7 because of the 2 extra frames. But counter hit would leave me at +8. Is that right? Let me see here. And if they don't wake up, button, that leaves me at +6. Yeah, okay, so it's +6, +8. So that is a, sorry, it's a 1 frame advantage. bump. This thing has 2 active frames, that's right. So yeah, that's basically how that kind of thing works. There's even moves that have 4 active frames or more that you can actually use to cover both rises, because quick rise and back rise, if you don't know, the difference is 5 frames for most rise situations. What that means is anything with 4 active frames, if you hit on the first frame or the 4th frame, that actually leaves that 5 frame gap. It's kind of weird the way it works. But yeah, basically anything with 4 active frames or more, you can get both rises. Standing medium punch for Balrog has 4 active frames. It is his only normal that has that. So you can only do that in the corner. But if I do something like this, let me set him to wake up. We'll put him in the corner here. So if I do this, that leaves me at the right advantage to be able to get it perfect to where it hits on the first active frame if they quick rise, and it hits on the last active frame if they back rise. So if they back rise, it hits super meaty. If they quick rise, it just hits normally. So what this means is if you quick rise with a 3 frame, oh, my mistake. I can do something like that. But if he back rises, I can do something like that on counter hit instead. That leaves me at +6 instead of +4 on counter hit. This would also leave me +4 on regular hit. So if he didn't wake up with a button, but he's still, I can do something like that. Or alternative, I can do this. So it just gives you an extra depth of options. This makes it a very good option select. There is one way they can get out of it by doing a crouch attack. Something called fuzzy guarding is kind of what it does. I didn't meaty that right. Yeah, the timing is a little strict, but you get the idea. So anything with 4 active frames or more, you can do with like that. Another one that you can actually do, although it is risky, it's better in V-Trigger 1, and I might go into this a bit. All of the dash straights have 4 active frames. I think they might actually have 5. It might just be 4, I don't know. But so basically you can set up for situations where you can do a straight. So the one I know off the top of my head, we put him to crush counter, and then set him to wake up. So doing standing medium punch and heavy punch straight after standing hard punch crush counter, that sets up for a both rise situation. Now you can't really do much after that except for that crushing medium kick. That leaves you at +7 on counter hit. If you're up close, it can kind of do it. That leaves you at +6 or it leaves you at +7, but if you're close enough, you can do crushing medium punch. If you're not close enough, you can do crouching medium kick. So those are basically the 2 options you can do on counter hit. On regular hit, all you can really do is standing light punch from that. But it still hits meaty enough to do a standing light punch on a regular hit. So if he doesn't attack, oh, sorry. What? I have that off. Oh, right, because I'm stupid. Okay. Let's turn counter hit off here. Oh, I'm stupid. Hang on. Trying to demonstrate this. And then if we can turn that off here. Oh. Once again. See, I can get that. Man, that stuff's hard to replicate. But you get the idea. So on backrise, that hits at +4. So that's the power of Meaties. However, if they block it, I am very punishable. So what I would have to do is be in V-trigger so I can do this to make it safe. So yeah, that's kind of just an example of what Meaties are. And how you can use 4 active frame moves to both meaty and hit regularly on Okie, depending on which rise they do. If he quick rises in that situation, by the way, it trades. So I can show you what that is really quick here. And if he quick rises with a button, alright, I need to turn counter hit on. Oh, I did it wrong. So yeah, that's basically what that does. And so again, it's good if you have V-trigger 1. It's actually a pretty darn good thing because it from full screen that can catch both rises, so it keeps your opponent grounded and kind of gives you more pressure buildup. We'll go into that one and a bunch of other meaty setups, kind of as we go along, but that was just an example. So what we're going to kind of do is we're going to start with 3-frame Okie, which is Okie against 3-frame jab characters, kind of similar to how my frame traps video worked. We're going to practice doing it against people who have 3-frame jabs, and then there's also setups you can do for 4-frame jab characters that are slightly better depending on the Okie. So after that, we're going to kind of go into also 3-frame meaties and 4-frame meaties. That goes with the Okie. We're going to test that on quick rise, back rise, and no rise or no recovery. And then we're going to go into v-trigger 1 Okie and v-trigger 2 Okie specifically, like things you can do in those v-triggers. And then after that, I'm going to cover a little bit of EXDPs as well, because that is definitely a part of Okie for some characters, is that they will wake up with an EXDP. So you have to be ready to beat that out if it happens. If you know, you can bait out a DP and then you can get a huge punish. And there are a couple characters where you can actually option select so that you will hit them with a meaty and they will do an EXDP and they will still be like, you'll still have enough recovery time to block it and punish. So these characters are Falk, Ed, and Urian, and we'll get into that near the end. For now, let's go into kind of 3-frame Okie. So first off, all of the knockdowns, for the most part, have different Okie or different advantages on wake up. This can kind of lead to a lot of, it requires a lot of knowledge, and it requires a lot of practice, a lot of you know, experimenting and kind of knowing what each knockdown lets you do, and that can allow you to optimize the best meaty situations or just plain Okie situations to where you can attack them after each situation. So the simplest thing that Balrog can do after most wake-ups is he can do an F dash, or he can do a dash v-skill. Depending on the knockdown, like light kick dash v-skill is the fastest that you can do, but at the same time it doesn't cover much distance. Like you look at how much distance this covers. I'm about half screen from him. But then you look at medium punch straight, and I'm basically in his face at that point. Not for that, but I can do something like that. And then if you want to do heavy kick, then you can get closer. It takes you know, more frames the longer you do it. Heavy kick dash low is an interesting one because you can cancel it this fast, or you can wait and cancel it like all the way over there. You can delay it quite a bit. So it allows you to have more versatility. However, this, I believe it's 7 frames is the fastest you can cancel it, while this is 5 frames. So this will take up a little more time than this. As such, because the timing window is really wide for the heavy kick dash low, it can be kind of hard to, you know, like auto time things. You have to kind of manually time it. Whereas the punch straights will almost always be the exact same time every time you cancel. The window is much smaller. So these are a lot more reliable, the punch straights. So the way I kind of tell people to do it, you want to use the kick. You want to use the kick V skills mostly when you're going through projectiles, because it allows you to go through them at a more, you know, free rate. So based on where the positioning of the projectile is, that's where you'll end up v-skilling. With this, you notice it's the same space every single time. There's not a whole lot of freedom I have, so that's not very good to get out of projectiles, but it is consistent, and because of that, it's good for Okie. So that's why these are what I use for Okie: light punch and medium punch straight v-skill. And we'll go into that. As you saw for this one, that's what I use after that. I use v-skill. You can do something like that, a frame kill. I could have actually done better damage off of that. If I can time it right. Yeah, whatever. In any case, you get the idea. So to go on to what I was saying before, 3-frame Okie. So we are going to go through just about every single knockdown that Balrog has to get a full idea of what everything is, and I highly recommend that you take all of the time to practice each and individual one and what the situations are. We're going to cover them both in the corner and mid-screen. So like this in the corner is different than this mid-screen. You can still do the same thing after that specific one, but something like this, like screw smash, there's going to be different kind of situations what you do. Same thing with something like forward throw. Forward throw mid-screen, if they quick rise. We'll put you at the perfect spacing for that. However, if you do it in the corner, you're too close to really, you know, do anything from there. I mean, you're too close to where they'll punish that if they block it. So you don't want that. Not good. So there's other things you can do instead. This takes a little bit of risk, but the reward is way better than the risk. So yeah. But the first one we're going to start with, I'm going to do this sort of in the order that that the advantage comes in. So we're going to start with MK, MP, v-skill+K target combo. Now this isn't really a super good one to do, but the good thing about this is that it leaves you plus 11 on quick rise. Now that requires you to manually time it, but you can do this. This is it? I believe it's 10 frame startup. Hang on, let me just double check so I'm not lying. Frames. I don't know Balrog frames apparently. So yeah, it's 9 frames. 9 frames meaning that you have to delay it by 2 frames in order to meaty it. And if you don't meaty it, that's okay. You can still get it. You just have to delay it like. Oh wait, that's not the right one. I'm being stupid. I need to turn stun off too. Okay. Sorry, force a habit. So you can do something like that if you don't get the meaty right. Or you can do this if you can get the meaty right. I didn't get it right. So look at all that damage based on that. Yeah, I can't really. And you can tell based on where it hits them if it's meaty or not. So that wasn't meaty, that hit him in the head. That was meaty because it hit him in the foot. If this thing touches them in the foot, you know that that's a meaty, and you can F-dash into a crushing hard punch. Very good, optimal punish on a crush counter. And alternatively, you can do that if it's not a regular one. So you see, I'm getting a pretty good amount of damage there. And with enough practice, you can replicate this pretty easily, actually. You just have to micro-walk it a little bit. Worst case scenario, that happens. So that's one thing to practice. And of course, I forgot to mention, we're gonna have Necalli or some other dummy. I just prefer Necalli, and set them to normal recovery, and then record their wake up action as standing light punch, and make sure it says reversal, and make sure the counter says 3 frames or less. So, like this. See, it says reversal, and that thing says 2 up there, which means it's less than the expected 3 frames limit. So that actually leaves me a little more plus because I meatied it. I didn't meaty it properly, but I still meatied it somewhat right. So that's something to practice. Doing that, if you don't get the meaty right, and then doing this. Sorry. Doing it too early. Doing that if you hit the meaty. And again, you would just have a split second to react to it, but you can react to it every single time if you just pay attention to where the fist hits him. If the fist hits his head or his chest, then that's not the full meaty. If it hits its foot, that's how you know it's the full meaty. So what does that mean if he doesn't rise with a button, but he still gets hit by it? You can still do that. If you meaty that properly. Okay, that wasn't right. You can still do that, and if it doesn't hit properly, you're still doing that as a frame trap, so it's not necessarily the worst. You can do something like that, you know. And again, you look at their feet. If you hit it on their feet, then you know it's that one. Yeah, that wasn't the full meaty. So those are two things to practice. Doing it 10 times on counter hit and 10 times on regular hit. To practice kind of which options to do. Make it so that you do it consistently. You don't need the meaty to be consistently necessarily. You just need to be able to crush counter or regular hit and be able to convert afterwards. If you screw up even once in the 10 succession, then you start over and then you switch sides and do it again. See, I failed there. Oh, whoops. I'm being stupid. But yeah, you get the picture. Do that 10 times on each side. So that's quick rise. No, back rise. On back rise, this thing is plus 16. So what this means doesn't mean a whole lot, unless you're in the corner. You can still get a micro. Excuse me. You can still get a micro walk into a standing hard kick if you want. So if I set him to like. Kind of a little harder. Yeah, that doesn't really give you that option. So you can do something like that. You can do something like that to make it safe all the time. And if you can meet it just right, I got it there, but then you can do that same setup. You just have to micro walk a little more. Yeah, it definitely takes practice, but that's basically the difference. If they micro walk, or you micro walk just a little bit, if they quick rise. If they back rise, you micro walk a little bit more. And then if they don't rise, this thing is plus 70. This actually has more recovery than the dash lows on no rise. It's weird. On no rise, for some reason, it acts as a hard knockdown and actually knocks them down for a little more time. So if we set this to no recovery, that leaves me at plus 70, so there's a lot of stuff you can do. And we're going to kind of go into just a good framed kill that you can do for that. So if you do that, you can do something like that if you would like. Delay wake-ups give you a lot of freedom, but they can also be kind of hard to know what to do, especially after something like this where you're already trying to like manually time it. But there are things that can be done. Like, see, you can do that and then an F dash into a standing hard kick if you like. That requires manual timing to some extent, but it basically lets you option select to where you can walk up and do a hard kick just in case they quick rise, so you don't have to follow visual cues as much. There's a lot of things you can do, but let's go into an actual frame kill. So after that, let's see. That's not right. I'm trying to, okay, I have a list here of things that we can try. So that's 49 frames. So that leaves me at 21. And, okay, I got it. So if I do this, I can do that. It's a similar setup to how that worked before, although it doesn't look like it actually frame kills perfectly, so let's try this. Yeah, so that... That leaves me at plus 7, so I can't do that, unfortunately. However, if I can find something that does slightly less frames, then I could. But that's going to be kind of hard. Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, that's something you can do. Yeah, that's good. So that sets it up automatically as a frame kill. However, doing that would require you to absolutely know that your opponent's going to delay wake up. You could better off do something like that. But yeah, it's still worth knowing that, because what that does is it keeps them closer to you rather than doing this. That pushes them a little farther back, as you can see. However, you can still get really good Okie after that. So yeah, you can use the MK target K if you really want, but it's just still worth knowing kind of what kind of options you have in any case. So next we're going to go into the dash lows. So, well, actually, let's see if it's even worth doing. Yeah, against 4 frames, there's not a whole lot of really things you want to know about with stuff like that. Situations where you can already do heavy as a meaty, you don't need to worry about 4 framers doing anything. So, but if there's a situation where you can do like a standing medium kick normally, but then if they have a 4 frame, you can do a crouching hard punch or something like that. That's useful information. So we'll try getting into that. So now, after the MK target K, the next fastest or smallest amount of wake up you have is all the dash lows. All of these are plus 20. Which means if you F dash, it leaves you at plus 3. So let's try this out. So if we do normal recovery, the best thing you can do after all the dash lows on normal recovery is F dash into crouching medium punch or F dash into standing medium kick. So see, you can get that. And in fact, you can actually loop this over and over again if your opponent's dumb enough to keep attacking. So that is kind of your go-to for that one. And you can even do something like that. Yeah, the best one about this, it almost always will keep you at that perfect distance to follow up with this on regular hit. Now that doesn't hit meaty or anything. However, you can make that, I believe. Maybe not. Yeah, that's only plus 7. Okay, never mind. You can also micro walk into that, but the timing on that, I would not recommend it. Yeah, that doesn't work. So yeah, plus 20. Let's try this here. That's something you can do if they quick rise. So crouching light kick is a 10 frames on whiff. So this takes up 10 frames. So because this is plus 20, that leaves you 10 frames. That leaves you at plus 10. So you can do something like this, if you can frame kill it right. Except I'm getting massive negative edge right now. For some reason. There you go. So that's also an option. However, most of the time you're just gonna wanna do this. You're just going to want to follow up with a standing medium kick or crouching medium punch. Now, crouching medium punch has its advantages. You can go into a tick throw that way. So, if he wakes up... Oh wait, did I think I did. Yeah, turn that on. We gotta turn that off. There we go. Alright. Pretty sure if I do this straight. Maybe not at that distance. Yeah, okay, maybe that isn't an actual tick throw. However, if you micro walk, maybe? I feel like this is an actual thing. Maybe not. I guess not. So forget what I said. That's a fake tick throw. Although you still can get it. If they don't, you know, if they're respectful. You can do that. It's not real, as we just showed, but it's still an option you can do. So, turn that back on. So yeah, after all three lows, F dash medium kick or F dash crouch medium punch. Those are your two best options. Now on backrise, what we can do, and this also works in the corner as you see, just fine. You don't have to worry about that. If you see them back rising, it is plus 25, which means you have 5 more frames of advantage. So you can do that. Now here's where it comes into play, where you have to know, you have to see what your opponent is doing. Because if you see them back rise, then you can get that. However, if I try to do the quick rise one, see, I get punished. So that is very important that you watch which way they're going. You have a split second as you're F dashing to do it. You have about 17 frames to react, which is plenty, honestly. Like, see, I can do it there. So let me turn this to random. Oops. Okay, I messed up there. Messed up again. You can also delay that a little bit. Of course, one thing you have to remember, unlike this AI that can perfectly do this at a random time every time, players will not do them randomly. There is always some kind of pattern they will do. People who tend to backrise usually backrise the whole match because they just autopilot that every time. People who quick rise tend to quick rise every time. People who delay rise tend to delay rise every time. A lot of people who do delay rise all the time typically just don't know how to do Okie. They don't know how to get up properly. For the record, if you didn't know, for the beginners out there, to quick rise, you either press 2 punches at the same time, or you press, I believe it's double down right away. And then to back rise, you press 2 kicks at the same time, or you press double back. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So I just do double punches or double kicks when I'm trying to quick rise or back rise. I think that's easier. Because double tapping on a stick can be kind of finicky sometimes. So anyway, it still is good to practice, you know, which one they're gonna do. And there's situations you can do follow-ups after the back rise. So let's try. Let's see, it's plus 69 on no rise. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Didn't realize I had my mic muted either. So what I just showed there is after no rise. You can kind of option select it, and if you hit it right, you can meaty. So you can get that. Kind of a similar situation after, you know, that, doing the meaty standing hard kick. If you time it just right. However, if you do it too fast, then, you know, you don't get anything. But if you time it just right, you get that. So that's worth practicing too. Now, the idea after that, after you've done it 10 times on each side with normal recovery, 10 times on each side with back recovery, 10 times on each side with no recovery, then you want to do it 10 times on each side with random recovery. I know this is a lot to work on because there's so many setups to do after each, there's so many knockdowns, but I promise you if you practice doing that after each knockdown, you will see a lot of results. That's kind of what I had to do, and that's why I'm able to just freely, you know, get through stuff. For the most part, I'm able to stay consistent with Okie and be fluid and always have a game plan depending on which way they go. So yeah, the idea for this is to, you know, practice doing that. And in the corner it is a little harder to see. And you can just manually time that one too if you'd like. I don't know why I'm not holding charge long enough to get that. So anyway, that's kind of the order you want to practice things on. First do normal, then do back, then do no recovery, then do random. Getting the random down consistently 10 times on each side will take a very long time, but once you do, you'll have it so ingrained in muscle memory at that point that you can just do it on reaction. So those are all of the dash lows: light kick, medium kick, hard kick. Now EX dash low has the exact same advantage as crouch hard kick. It's just 2 more frames of advantage than the regular dash lows. So we're going to do crouch hard kick and EX low at the same time. So it leaves you at plus 22 instead of plus 20, meaning that you get 2 extra frames of advantage. So what this means is that it leaves you at plus 5, which means you can do crouch hard punch instead to beat out 3 frames. So if we set it to normal recovery like before, see, you can use something like that. Oops. Do something like that. Basically, whatever you convert after crouch hard punch crush counter, you can do after that. From there, if they don't wake up with a button, do something like that if you really want. If not, you just get that hit if you don't want to actually commit to it. Note too that this is actually a frame trap if they block the first hit, and if you V-trigger cancel this, it's like plus 20 on block. So it's not really plus 20 on block. It's like plus 10 on block. So if you're afraid to commit into that, then you can do something like this to make it safe. Make it even plus. And then you can go into all sorts of mix-ups. That's only if they're standing, of course. If they're crouch blocking, then you're kind of out of luck. But now you can also just do another forward dash into medium kick, forward dash into crouch medium punch. Now, does this have any benefits? Well, it's easier to remember because you just treat it the same way. Let's get him out of that. Let's put him in the left corner so we can practice mid-screen. So that leaves you at plus 7 on counter hit. It's a little meaty, not much. You can do that if you really want. So yeah, you can do stuff like that. I still prefer that one because if they wake up, guarding and try to punish this, you can do something like that as a punish. Yeah, that's only if they do like a medium punch or something that you can get crouching medium punch, but let's see. Yeah, you can't do that either. Yeah, so you can only do crouching medium kick or crouching hard kick after that, but that's something you can also do too. See? And doing this is, in and of itself, is a pretty safe block string. So if he blocks it, see? But if he doesn't cover after that, then that's basically like a clever frame trap that you can do, sort of thing. So that's another option you can do after crouching hard kick. And this, like I said, the wake up is the exact same. It's the exact same with the X low. We're back again. Sorry, people keep coming into the room and interrupting. So I completely lost my train of thought. EX low. EX low is the exact same as crouch hard kick. He should not be set to guard all. Do that. Do that. So you can do something like this. Oops. Something like that. At the same time, if you manually time it by about a frame, you can also meaty that as well. It is a little harder to do that way though. As you can see, I'm not really proficient in it. After that, you can also go up and grab them. However, you do have to delay it a little bit. If they backrise in the corner, you can still do it. In fact, you can actually do it from any distance. You just have to manually time it. So that's that. Those are crouch hard kick and EX low for normal recovery. And I just showed you the grab on back recovery. Basically, anything that leaves you in +3 on wake up or more allows for a throw on wake up that you can scare somebody with. Or you can do something like this. You can do a tick throw. So that can pressure them pretty well. So that's quick rise. Back rise now leaves you at +27 as it showed there. So this basically gives you similar situations. You can meaty that if you time it right. I don't even think it needs to be timed. I think it just leaves you at the perfect distance. +25. F dash is 17 frames. That leaves you at 8, +8. So yeah, this actually should hit meaty because it's a 9 frame. So yeah, that is just something you should do on backrise. It's similar to how you should do this on backrise, except this one will hit meaty every single time. So that's actually very good. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, I didn't think so. However, you can do something like that. In fact, you can even do that. At that point, that's the most you can do from that distance. So it's worth to note that things on Okie on tip range, if they back rise that far, that's about the most you can do on certain things. Let's see. Yeah, you can do something like that. You can do a dash straight, you know, whatever. Those are manually timed, but you can do stuff like that. This, if you're up close enough, is kind of what you want to do. Oh, I just learned something new. So that's actually the best thing you can do in that situation. No, I didn't think so. Nope. Okay, so EX straight. Let's talk about that. Non-counter hit. That will hit. So I just learned something new. Now this, note that the standing hard kick is only really at close range, as you can see there. If they're at tip range like this, that's about the best you can do. Can I even do that? I don't think I can even do that in the corner. Oh, I can. Okay, so in the corner, that's what you want to do as your alternative. So you can definitely do that in the corner if it regular hits, no counter hit. And you can do the same thing with this. Options. So yeah, now you know that. Try practicing that on quick rise, back rise with those options. Don't be afraid to pause the tape and, you know, try rewinding it to study it more, know what each setup is. Now, delay wake up. This is one of my favorites because it's the exact same as crush counter. So this leaves you at plus 71. This also leaves you at plus 71. So this gives you that same setup. So if I change him to back to mashing a button, now this is very nice option select because you notice I can do an F dash. That gives me enough time once again to react and see if they're doing delayed wake up. If they do, then I can do all of the crazy mix-ups I want. Then I can do that one. So that's F dash, v-skill+K, standing light punch. On counter hit, it's plus 8. You can combo into that. On regular hit, it's plus 6. You can combo into that. Okay, I messed that up. But that's basically what you want to do if you can. That's my favorite setup. Practice doing that. Practice it on non-counter hit too. Yep, messed that up. Messed it up again. So you can do something like that. You can also mix it up, so you can do this. Oh, sorry. Gotta love negative edge. So you can do that, or you can do this. Darn it. This negative edge is kicking my butt. There we go. So you see I can do that too. However, that does not let me do charge. I have to do screw smash after that. See, I can't charge enough. So that's not really the better alternative. You can also do weird stuff like you do weird stuff like this. So that isn't quite meaty the way I want it to, but you get the idea. You can mix it up and mix and match. Knowing what advantage you are helps kind of workshop what kind of things you can do to whiff and to buffer so that you can set it up. And I'm going to include in the description a list of knockdowns with all the advantages on them, and then also a list of good moves that you can do to buffer and how much each of their respective frame count is. So this is 17 frames. If you're at plus 71 in this case, dashing up, subtract 17 frames from that. V-skill kick is 49 frames, so you would subtract 49 frames. So 17 plus 49, you gotta do some quick maths. 2 plus 2 equals 4, minus 1, that's 3. 49 plus 17, that would be 50 plus 16, that would be 66. So that leaves you at plus 4. That's why you're able to do that as a meaty, because it's a 4 frame. So see, by just doing basic math, you can figure out what advantage you're at after each thing. You just subtract the total frames that the move takes from what advantage you have left over. And then you just keep subtracting until you're at that sweet spot of like plus 3, plus 4, plus 5, plus 6, whatever, depending on your situation. That's how I'm able to do something like this. Those are frame kills. So you figure out what exactly the frames are so that you can get a perfect, you know, frame by frame, like this is the perfect setup that will give me a meaty every single time, and I just auto time it. That's what they call frame kills, because you're timing it down to the frame. And you're doing every single thing that is just the perfect amount of frames to be able to kill them with that final meaty. So that's crouch hard kick out of the way. And again, you know, practice it 10 times on each side, and then set to random. And again, you can experiment all you want with Okie. I encourage you to do so. I'm not going to go into every single Okie option, just kind of the best ones that I've found myself, or that other people have shown me that I've, you know, picked up and that I use. I got to be really careful there, because I don't want to take credit for like everything I've found, because most of it is stuff that I did not find. I just stole it from other people. So there's my secret. Like this is not my setup. That's somebody else's setup. But it is still the most optimal, which is why I'm sharing it with you folks. So that's something you can do. Do F dash, crouch hard punch if they quick rise, and standing hard kick if they back rise, or standing hard punch depending on how far they are. And then if they don't rise at all, then after the forward dash you do that, and then you do a standing light punch. Those are your best options. After that, we got light kick screw smash. So this one won't give you too good Okie from mid screen on quick rise or back rise. However, there are some things we can do. So that leaves me at plus 28. It's 6 frames more of advantage than crouch hard kick. So I can micro walk. That's about the most. I can F dash too, but F dashing. Actually, F dashing is probably the better option. Let me set this up right. So say I do something like this. I can also meaty that if I time it right, which I'm not timing it right. That does not give you the right distance for that though, unfortunately. Yeah, you can always just do that to make it safer. I would almost recommend that. However, if you do this perfectly, which it's very hard to do it perfectly, then yeah, see? It is plus 11, which means if you time it to the frame, you will be 1 frame too early, and Nikali will punch you. But if you time it 1 frame off, then you can do that. So it is worth doing. It is worth doing it that way. If you can just practice getting that one time, that 1 frame error. Beyond that, medium kick screw is plus 30, so that's 2 more. We'll go into that, but it's so light kick screw is plus 33 on back rise. Oh yeah, also in the corner, you can do this if you really want. V-skill overhead. However, it is a pretty big commitment. You're better off doing something like that. You're better off V-trigger canceling it to make it safe. You can do it there too, but that's about the only follow-up you can do if it's counter hit. And if it's not, you can do standing light punch. Actually, no, you can't do standing light punch. Forget that. So yeah, that's not really the best option. But it's definitely an option you can do, especially mid-screen. You can kind of fool people. They're not going to expect you to do an overhead like at this distance a lot of times. They're going to be blocking because they're going to be expecting your longer range sweeps instead. So yeah, that is definitely an option you can do. That doesn't leave you, yeah, that does not leave you. Although you can do something like that if you really want. I would not recommend it. F dash into a slightly delayed standing hard kick is probably your best bet off of that. Or you can do that into something, which again you're gonna probably hit that meaty, and that's not gonna be good. F dash and a standing hard kick, I would say, is what you want to do. Yeah, you can't even do that, man. That sucks. Okay. So now we're gonna go into backrise with this. Oh wait, that wasn't backrise. Okay, yeah. You can't really do that. You can do a standing hard punch, however. However, you do have to manually time that one as well. If you can read the dash, I think I should do it right. You can do a light punch straight. If you can read the backdash. So that is kind of a caveat. So you can do standing light punch or crouching light punch after that. You can't do a medium punch or anything like that. So that's always an option. It is risky though. However, if the opponent quick rises and they're very respectful, you can oftentimes get away with that anyway. So that's just something to keep in mind. At the same time, you can do a dash into a v-skill kick. So this actually offers, if you can read it right, it offers a high-low mix-up. In the corner and on counter hit, you can actually media into that. So that kind of gives you another option. I honestly would just advise that you do this into a micro walk, or just to delay the standing hard punch, just to keep him a little at bay. Alternatively, is it that one? No. Maybe not. You can do an EX low if you want. That's too far. Yeah, you can do something like that. Not that. Yeah, you'd have to experiment if you wanted to figure out how to use that to catch them. You can do silly stuff like that. But overall, the Okie on that isn't going to be like super consistent outside of just doing this. And I just messed it up. That's about the most you're going to do on quick rise outside of getting in the corner. Then you can do, you know, things like that. I love Okie cycles. But in any case, let's go forward here, because this video is going to be like 3 hours long at this rate. with all the dilly-dallying I'm doing. So on delay wake up, that's where you can, as always, kind of experiment and have a lot of fun. That will beat 3 frames. So 2 F dashes afterwards. Leaves you, I believe, at +5 or +3 or something like that. There's a lot of stuff you can do. Yeah, that doesn't work. So yeah, I would say that's one that you can practice. 2 F dashes. Yeah, that doesn't work. Alternatively, if you think they're going to backdash, you can do something like that. They would achieve a similar result. So 3 F dashes instead of 2. There's other things you can experiment. Again, if you can tell what kind of moves you have and what your advantage is, then you can go from there. This leaves you total at +87. Did I read that right? Yeah, +87 on no rise. And again, practice on both sides with whatever setup you want. Make sure you get the setup consistently 10 times without fail. If you fail once, start over. And now we're going to go into medium kick screw smash. So medium kick screw smash is a little bit different. It launches them a little farther and it has a little bit more recovery, or a little more advantage. Two frames of advantage to be exact. At the same time, light kick target combo also has the exact same frame advantage. However, you notice this puts you at that distance. Oops. Well, this puts you at that distance. It's slightly different. Just ever so slightly. This puts you just ever so slightly closer. So, just like light kick screw smash, you can manually time a standing hard kick after an F dash. Like so. So those are the 2 options you can do. It's basically no different than light kick screw smash. You just have to delay it by 2 more frames. So with the same thing, back recovery. Oh, that wasn't right. You can do that. Yeah, I didn't think you could do that. So it gives you certain options you can do. You can do that same thing. So, delay wake up, pretty similar. Leaves you at +89. And EX screw is the exact same, except 1 more frame advantage than MK screw, so not a whole lot of difference. This does push you back farther than the others though. So you do have to kind of micro walk up forward. So basically forward dash and a standing hard kick, same as before. And if they back rise, you can do, you know, a dash up, whatever you want. In the corner, this will always hit meaty. So that's something you can do in the corner if you want to make them guess. And alternatively, if you want, that'll trade. Or you can just do a 3-frame and not make it trade. So that's something you can do against 4-framers actually, is doing crouch light kick there as a mix-up. You see how I just seamlessly go from Okie to Okie to Okie to Okie. That's kind of what you're wanting after practicing all this stuff. That's kind of what you'll start finding you're able to do easier. So, EX screw, MK screw, LK screw, LK target. Pretty similar. Not a whole lot of difference other than just manual timing is slightly different on each one. There's a little more you can do on each one, as you saw like with Meaties and everything. You can experiment more with that if you'd like. So the other one after that one is everybody's favorite, EX straight. Now EX straight is plus 33 on quickrise. So what does that mean? Well, that means that you can do a dash v-skill like this. And this actually, I believe, let's see here. Plus 33. That leaves you at plus 2 on quickrise. So this is 31 frames. That's how long that takes to execute. So anything that is plus 32 or higher, you can technically do this on. Alternatively, you can do this to leave yourself at plus 2 as well. These actually take the exact same amount of frames, oddly enough. Just one goes farther than the other. So this leaves you at plus 2, which means you can follow up with that, or you can follow up with one of these. You can't do a medium kick after that. So basically what you want to do after EX straight, even mid-screen, you want to do MP dash v-skill if you can. Just you got to practice it pretty well. You can do that, or you can do that for more pressure. This will leave you, these will both leave you more plus than this. This obviously leaves you at plus 0 on block. So it's not really good to do outside of the corner. In the corner, as I showed before, that will leave you at plus 0 on block, but if they backrise, it will leave you at, I believe, plus 3 on block. So, doing this in the corner, you can basically do a similar situation thing. This okay, I didn't think that would work. Regular raw v-skill as opposed to medium punch v-skill. Raw v-skill is 29 frames, so it gives you one single more frame advantage. LK low v-skill is also the exact same, 29 frames if you time it to the frame. Because there's a wider window, it can be kind of inconsistent. But you can time it that fast, then it'll achieve the same result while giving you a little more distance. So I can do something like this. And get that. If with a quick rise. See, I can do that instead, so now I can get a medium punch, or a medium kick. However, you do have to time it to the frame again. In the corner, you can just do regular v-skill, so you don't have to do the, you know, the timing or anything. So that is something you can do as well. And if they backrise, then you can do standing hard kick instead. It won't hit meaty, but it'll still be some nice damage. So you can do something like this. Get some nice damage. So that's EX straight. On no rise, it is plus 92. So in the corner, one thing that I like doing, just kind of for style. Sorry, I messed it up. You can time it right. It does take a little timing. If I can do it. You can do something like that. You can do a setup like that. Let's go with that one. That is actually a pretty good one. You can do 2 F dashes, achieve a similar result. So those are some options you can do. Whichever one you like most, just try practicing that one and go from there. You can, you know, do basically a similar thing mid-screen, although like I said, mid-screen you want to try to do the light one. Although that, with the light punch, gives you an option to manually time it into a meaty, which can be a little harder. But there are things you can do after that still mid-screen, so it's worth practicing, finding what, you know, a good one is, and then just practicing it over and over again until you get it 10 times on each side. Without fail, of course. So that's EX straight. One of the main ones you're going to be kind of relying on for Okie. Because of the medium punch straight v-skill cancel, you are able to just seamlessly get back in their face for pressure, so it's a great thing to do. Another one is MK target P. Medium kick, medium punch, v-skill punch. That actually leaves you at a very similar advantage. It leaves you at plus 35 instead of plus 33. So what this means is on quick rise, you now can do that. So, yeah, basically, this is a really good one for Okie. Builds V meter, so it's good for that reason. So you can do something like this to convert it, and then you can go into, you know, a meaty, keep pressure. In the same regard, you can do that as in the corner to catch both wake-ups, but you do have to time it a little bit differently. So yeah, as you can see, this one requires a little manual timing. So yeah, that one's not as reliable. You can even do something like that if you want. On backrise. You can even do that on quickrise too, but yeah, you can't do that. It'll trade on 4 frame, so I mean that's always an option. As you can see, Meaties are very kind of well, there's a lot of them. And I'm actually getting close to kind of my limit here as to how long I can make the video. So I'm actually going to have to kind of continue this in a part 2. So I apologize for that. I will do my best to try to just cover a little more here before we reach that point. So I covered EX straight and medium kick target punch. Those are like 2 of your main Okies that you'll be getting a lot of, on top of, you know, the traditional dash lows. So that pretty much covers like all of the main knockdowns. There's a couple more you can do. Standing hard punch crush counter, you can do crouching hard punch crush counter. We already covered a crouching hard kick crush counter. It's basically a hard kick with a delay. Wake up, but it's forced. We can do forward throw and back throw. So back throw is simple. Back throw, they can only, well, okay, forward throw and back throw, they can only do 2 wake ups. They can do quick rise or they can do no rise. They can't do back rise. So if I have him set to back recovery, he still goes up. So this is what you want to do. You want to light punch straight, hits meaty. It's safe on block, nothing they can do. On hit, on counter hit, you can convert into that. On regular hit, you can convert into light punch. So if he doesn't wake up with a move, okay, maybe not. I guess you can't do that. But yeah, this is basically the best thing you can do. You can also do a fake F dash, because they're probably going to be guarding if they know, you know, that you're going to do. If they know that you're going to do the light punch straight, it's very likely that they're just going to go up and guard. So you can actually steal a turn by doing this. Or alternatively, you can do this. Oh, sorry. And then as soon as they start getting wise and try to mash, that's when you hit them with the straight. So there's head games involved there. F dash, or F throw, sorry, is basically, that's the main thing you want to do. Light kick low. In the corner, you can do an EX straight basically, but you have to kind of manually time it. You can also do a heavy punch straight. This will trade with 3 frame, as you saw before. So if I do this, then I can combo into that. Good damage. Very risky. It's better if you have V-trigger 1 to make it safe. So you can do that if they block it. In the corner, you don't want to do light kick low. Basically, you can just get a micro walk into something like that. Or you can, if they're respecting you too much, then you can do this. And then the moment they try to get wise, you can mix it up. Those are the mind games. Standing hard punch crush counter is another one. It leaves you at plus 37. So basically, the situation is very similar to this. So after standing hard punch crush counter, you can do a medium punch dash v-skill cancel. See? Similar situation. Nothing really to it. But it's very, you know, it's always helpful if you do that. You know, you can also convert that on a crush counter into things. So you can do that to convert into something. Not really all that useful anymore. So that's actually all I'm going to cover for this video. I guess I'm just going to have to cover the next part of Okies at a later date. I might even do it Sunday, we'll see, depending on how I'm feeling. Otherwise, you can expect to see the next part in 2 weeks, if I don't end up doing it on Sunday. So that basically concludes this part of it. Next time I'm going to go into the V-Trigger 1 and V-Trigger 2 stuff, as well as how to combat EXDPs, so be looking forward to that. I decided to kind of scrap 4-frame Okie and 4-frame Meaties. That's not as important. There are some setups that you can do, but that's just something you want to practice in your own time. There's too many to really go into, and some aren't even really that beneficial. So, yeah, that's about all I got for this one. Thanks everybody for watching. If you managed to get it this far, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. Let me know what you want me to see, what you want me to do in the next videos, anything you want to see, and just keep boxing. Boxing's good for the soul. All right, see you guys later.